Hey Rangers, this is Miss Murphy here, and I just wanted to go over some examples with each slide so that you know what to do in case you were having a difficult time with it. So this is just a review of what we've talked about Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and that's just reading, writing, and comparing decimals. So I won't read all of these. I'll give you time to read them on your own. But basically, these were our learning standards. I can write and read a decimal to the thousandths place when it's written in standard form. I can write and read a decimal to the thousandths place when it's written in word form. I can write and read a decimal to the thousandths place when it's written in expanded or expanded notation form. And I can use the less than, greater than, or equal to symbols to compare decimals to the thousandths place. So let's go ahead and get started. So on the first slide, can't really see the bubble, so I'm going to scoot it down. It says type the number that is given in word form. Use standard or base 10 form in your answer. Double click the white box to type your answer. So remember, if you can read the number correctly, then you should be able to write it correctly. 41 and 16 hundredths. So remember, my and represents my decimal. So everything before my decimal, you should know that it is a part of the whole number. So everything before the word and will come before the decimal, and all the words after and will come behind the decimal. So 41, I simply just write what it sounds like. 41 and there's my decimal. Now I'm behind the decimal. 16 hundredths. So if it ends with hundredths place, that means you should only have 2 digits behind the decimal. So 16 hundredths, I just simply write 16. So if you double check yourself by reading the standard number that you wrote, 41 and 16 hundredths, that matches my word form, I know I'm good to go. So kind of use and as your determination, or your try to use and, to kind of help you separate what goes before the decimal and what goes behind the decimal. Okay, so let's move on. Again, type the number that is given in word form. Use standard form in your answer. Double click the white box to type your answer. So I'm double clicking. Okay, 23 and, so I know 23 is the only thing that goes before my decimal. So I'm going to go ahead and write 23 and now I just worry about the decimal part. 436 thousandths. So if my word form ends in thousandths, that means I should have 3 numbers behind my decimal. 436. Well, I write it exactly how it sounds. 436. So when you read your number, make sure it matches with the word form. 23 and 436. Okay? Next one. Give your answer in word form by double clicking the right box. So now you're given the standard form and you must write it in word form. So if you can say it correctly, you can write it correctly. The first example is 7 and 23. Well, 23 what? I'm 2 digits behind the decimal. That lets me know I'm in the hundredths place. So my number should be 7 and 23 hundredths. Don't forget the THS. If you just write RED, that is wrong because the THS is what's after the decimal. And then you try. So remember, don't forget your last name. Wherever the last digit is in behind the decimal, that should be the last word in your word form. Okay, next example. Still have to give your answer in word form by double clicking on the white box. So I'm going to read my number first. 19 and 949. Well, 49 what? I have tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So thousandths should be my last name. So I'm going to start over. 19 and 949 thousandths. So that's what I write. 19 and 949 49 thousandths. Okay, let's move on. Now, this one says, type the number that is given in expanded form. So actually, this is expanded notation, but they do expect you to know expanded form with just addition and also expanded form with multiplication and addition. So now you just have to write the regular number. Okay, so my first number is 8. Well, because that's the only whole number I see and it only has one digit, I know that it's in the ones place, so I write 8. 1 second. My computer's loading or trying to catch up. Okay? And now, if you notice, I'm starting to see those fractions, 1/10 and 1/100th. Well, what does that sound like? The decimal. So that means I am now behind my decimal. 4 times 1/10. So that means 4 times 1/10, my 4 has to be in the tenths place. So I know the tenths place is right behind the decimal. 3 times 1/100th, or 1/100ths. I know that my 3, the digit 3, has to be in the hundredths place. So this is my final answer. This is my standard form. 8 and 43 hundredths. So you have to, well, I'm going to try the second one with you because it's a little complicated. Okay. Looking at my whole number, I just have a 6, so I know that must go in the ones digit. Because I'm starting to see fractions, I know that I'm now dealing with digits in behind the decimal. So I see 1/10. Well, that lets me know I'm in the tenths place, so my 2 must be in the tenths place. Now, this is where it gets tricky. I went from 1/10 to 1,000, 1/1000th. Well, what's missing? The hundredths place. Well, because my thousandths come after the hundredths place, I have to put something in the hundredths place so that it'll give me 3 digits behind the decimal. So I have to put a placeholder. And then I can type my digit in the 1,000ths place by simply putting 5. Okay, so that's all you're doing. Because I did 2 examples here, I'll let you try this example and the following example. Well, I'll do this one. Okay, so I have 1,000 plus 500 plus 30 plus 6 plus 1 times 1/10 plus 4 times 1/100. So this is expanded notation form, and they want you to write it in standard form. Well, this is where they've already told you what is in each place value, so you know you're going to have a number that goes to that's in the thousands, your whole number. So the value in the thousands place is just 1,000, so that lets me know I only have a 1 in the thousands place. If I got 5 hundredths, that lets me know I have a 5 in the hundredths place. If I have 30 or 3 tens, that lets me know that there's a 3 in the tens place. 6 ones is simply 6. Now, because I see 1/10 and 1/100, that lets me know I now have a decimal. And so my 1 is in the 1/10th place, and my 4 is in the 1/100th place. So I should have 2 digits behind the decimal. And you try the other 3. The last one on the previous slide and the 2 on here. Okay, final examples. Well, nope, I take that back. Next example. Okay, it says to answer in expanded form, click on each white box to fill in the correct number. So now they've given you the expanded form, the standard form, and you have to put it in expanded notations. So I told you in my last video that you have to get used to seeing your expanded notation in decimals and fractions. So 1/10 is the same as 0 and 1/10 or 0.1, and 1/100 is the same as 0.01. Okay, well, how are we going to expand the 8 in the hundredths place to expanded notation? Remember, you need the digit and you need the place value. So I have 8 times 100, which will give me 8 hundredths. Then I move on. Plus, I need the digit 2, and I need the value. It's in the tens place, so it's times 10. Plus, I need the digit, which is 7, times the value, which is 1 because it's in the ones place. And so now I have my expanding notation for the whole number in my decimal. Now I need to move behind my decimal. You need the, luckily, my computer is just acting funny today, y'all. Luckily, there we go. They've already put the 1/10 for you, so you just add the digit. Well, what digit is in the tenths place? The 2. What digit is in the hundredths place? The 1. That's all you're doing. Okay? You identify the digit, and then you identify the place value. Next example. 4 and 100. Well, what do we have? I have my digit, which is 4. What place value is it in? 4 times 1, because it's in the ones place. Plus, I don't have anything else in my whole numbers. I only have one digit behind the decimal, and that's in the hundreds place. So I need the digit, which is 1. And then they've already done the 1 over 100, or the hundredths place. All right, moving on. This one. Click on the less than, greater than, or equal to sign, and drag it into the white box to make the statement true. So this is comparing decimals to the thousands place. Remember, you always want to start with the digit furthest to the left. So I want to see if I can draw. Okay, so I'm going to compare. I have an 8 here and an 8 here. Can't do anything with it. It's the same number, so I move to the next digit. I'm in my tenths place. I have an 8 here and a 4 here. Well, what do I know about these two numbers? I know that 8 is larger than 4, or 4 is less than 8. But how do I determine which symbol to place there? Well, the open mouth. Okay, y'all, now I'm trying to figure out how to take it off. No. Oh, here you go. Okay, so now I need to figure out which symbol. So this is my less than symbol, this is my greater than symbol, and this is my equal sign. So I know it's not equal. Now, if you're getting confused on which sign to choose, think about this. The open mouth, or the alligator, so pretend this is someone's mouth, always wants to eat the larger number. So the open face of the arrows should point to your larger number. So if 8 and 882 thousandths is my largest number, then my open mouth needs to point to it. I want the most. I want to get all the bigger value. And so this is the greater than symbol. 8 and 882 thousandths is greater than 8 and 491 thousandths. And that's all you do. All right, last example. I have 123 and 303 thousandths, and I need to compare it to 12 and 303 thousandths. Now, if you look real closely, they look like they could be the same number, but let's look at our whole numbers. I have 123 and then I have 12. So if I wanted these to have the same amount of digits, or the same number of digits, I simply just write a 0. So now I have 3 digits in front of the decimal, and I have 3 digits in front of this decimal. So let's get started. Hundredths place, furthest to the left is 1, furthest to the left is 0. Well, 1 is greater than 0. So that tells me that my open mouth has to point towards the larger number. So I'm pulling this middle one. 123 and 303 thousandths is greater than 12 and 303 thousandths. So, with those examples, I hope that helps you in completing the rest of it. If you need any more assistance, feel free to email me and we can go through it together if need be. So I wish you the best of luck, Rangers, and remember to do your best.